Back in the 1920s, the richest man in the world built a multi-million-dollar American city right here, in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. But Henry Ford's empire ended in a violent revolt and a weird mistake. In this video, you'll find out if this big project became a ghost town or if there are people living inside those ruins. If you don't know me yet, I am Nachi, I'm Brazilian, and I create this channel to share curiosities, tourist places, and local tips about my country. So let's get started. Ford's factories in Detroit were a huge success, producing thousands of cars a day, but even so, Henry Ford had one big weak point in production: the tires. The global rubber market was completely controlled by European businessmen who charged whatever price they wanted. The ambitious Henry Ford then thought, I don't want to depend on anyone. I'm going straight to the source, where the rubber is made. That's when he created a big plan to control natural resources by coming the Amazon rainforest in Brazil. He simply bought an area of land almost the size of the state of Connecticut. But do you think he stopped there? No, he decided that on top of getting natural rubber for his tires, he would also build an industrial city from scratch right in the middle of nowhere. To execute his plan, Henry Ford invested a lot and didn't care about the costs. He wanted to copy a typical Michigan city with the greatest luxury possible in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. So, imagine you are a local worker and suddenly you start to see that the area got concrete sidewalks, red fire hydrants on the streets, hospitals with the most advanced technology of the time, movie theaters, and even golf courses like in the US. Giant cargo ships crossed the ocean, bringing in all kinds of important machinery, the latest power generators, and building materials straight from Detroit. Everything seemed perfect. The city was full of life, with thousands of Brazilian workers operating the machines day and night, sharing the space with American managers and their families, who were trying to live there exactly like they lived in the United States. The project seemed on its way being the biggest success in the company's history. But one detail that Henry Ford never imagined turned the industrial dream into a real war zone. It all starts with the ban on alcohol, the requirement to take part in social events like typical dances, and work scheduled during the intense heat. With strict behavioral rules, he wanted to build a place with American values and customs. But the last straw was the food. Brazilians were used to eating rice, beans, and fresh fish, but the food that started to be served in the cafeteria was typically American, which led the workers to complain about stomach problems. These impositions created a silent revolt that was about to explode. And of course, it exploded. One day the workers revolted, grabbed their machetes and destroyed the cafeteria and other things around it. The chaos was so crazy that American managers and their families were completely terrified, afraid of being killed, and decided to run into the middle of the jungle and hide on boats on the Tapajós River, waiting for the riot to end. When order was restored, Henry Ford thought everything was under control, but he had no idea that the bigger problem layout wouldn't come from the workers, but from nature. And as we say here in Brazil, that's when deu ruim. Deu ruim, it's like saying that something went wrong. The heavy rains of the Amazon washed away the soil and took away all the nutrients that the rubber trees needed to grow. Huge work had to be done on the land to try to prevent flooding in the areas that had been cleared. And when it wasn't the rain, it was the extremely dry season in the region that damaged the trees. But back at the beginning, Henry was made a mistake, and it was that mistake that brought the big project to ruin. Men from Detroit factory were put in charge of the farming instead of planting the specialists. Something that he definitely didn't imagine would cost him so much. They planted thousands of rubber trees packed close together in industrial rows, a perfect setup for local pests. In a short time, the plantation was taken over by them, causing a lot of headaches, and as a result, the project in Fordlândia ended up not giving the return that was expected. The most impressive thing is that Henry Ford didn't give up right away. Now, with the guidance of a plant specialist, he moved the main operations to another place called Belterra, and there, his plantation did well. But when the Second World War broke up, the market turned upside down, and when everything went back to normal, Ford realized that it no longer makes sense to keep the project running. They gave up on everything and sold the giant structure in the Amazon to the Brazilian government for only $250,000. A very low price compared to the investment that has been made. Now, being honest with you, even though Fordlândia is an unlikely story from the Amazon, this region has a lot more to explore. But I'm going to tell you about two places, okay? Close to there is the charming village of Chão, in the city of Santarém. It has a simple but good setup to be your base. Right in the front of the village, you'll be charmed by the Ilha do Amor, the Love Island. A warm freshwater beach with white sand, perfect to relax and try the local fish. And at Ponta do Cururu, a long sandbank that forms on the edge of the Tapajós River, it is perfect to watch an incredible sunset. Now, if you were curious to find out the final destination of those ruins, the answer will surprise you. The small district of Fordlândia is now like an open-air museum that keeps attracting historians and curious people. So the end of the story of the American city abandoned in the Amazon is that there are still about 1,200 people living there, many of them in the original houses from the American village. A big part of that history, like the industrial warehouses, the hospital, and the sawmill, are still there. Around the same time that Henry Ford failed in this ambitious project, a group of immigrants from the other side of the world arrived in Brazil with nothing and managed to build the biggest community of their country outside their homeland. The idea was to save money and go back, but there was an unbelievable twist. If you want to know more about this incredible story, click right here and I see you there. Bye bye!